Hello everyone. Today, we're discussing a very interesting topic, the invisible traps inside our minds. And you may not have realized that these small mental states often quietly hold us back without our knowing. The content we are sharing today comes from a profound manuscript provided by the Buddhist Society of Western Australia. We are truly grateful to them. Now, before we begin, let me ask you a question. Think about this. Do you sometimes feel like you are constantly chasing something, but what you catch doesn't actually bring you much happiness? You put in a lot of effort, but all you get in return is a very short-lived sense of satisfaction. That's right, this is the core of what we're discussing today. 1. The first trap: indulgence, heedlessness. This term might sound a little archaic, but you definitely understand the feeling. Imagine a horse breaking free from its reins, then uncontrollably galloping forward. Impossible to stop. Yes, this is that feeling. Simply put, this is a kind of self-indulgence, you know. The feeling of whatever. While enjoy it now and deal with the consequences later. It feels comfortable and happy in the moment. That's true. But in the long run, this indulgence can make us lose something more important, and may even bring negative consequences. The metaphor of the runaway horse is spot on. The key is not the indulgence itself, but the unstoppable feeling. The tendency that you can't hit the brakes. Think about it. Isn't this true when you scroll on your phone, binge, watch a series, or shop? Once the craving is lit, it's hard to stop. This doesn't necessarily refer to severe bad habits. It refers to the somewhat feverish energy we pour into chasing any desire. For example, spending a massive amount of time researching and queuing for a dream meal, or the adrenaline rush of frantically placing orders during a shopping festival. That urgent, unstoppable process is like the runaway horse. This is what indulgence, heedlessness looks like in our lives. 2. The second trap: mental cloudiness, distraction. If indulgence, heedlessness makes us lose control, the next trap, mental cloudiness, distraction, makes us lose our awareness. To help you immediately understand, here is a classic, slightly funny story that you will absolutely never forget. The story goes that a master recalled his mother being a very diligent and meticulous person, especially in the kitchenette was her domain. But one day, an unimaginable, strange thing happened. She was so engrossed in thought, completely lost, as if her soul had left her body, totally immersed in her own world. And then, she took the shovel, scooped up a large pile of coal, and instead of putting it into the stove, she shook the entire shovel of coal directly into the wok of hot oil next to it. Imagine that scene, it must have been terrifying. It's said that everyone present was stunned. This is the consequence of distraction to the extreme. So this is the essence of mental cloudiness, distraction. In that moment, her mind was completely filled with some other urgent or troubling matter. It is when our mind is totally occupied by something so urgent or vexing that we lose all awareness of the thing we are currently doing. The person is awake, but the mind is dull and confused, completely unaware of the situation. Think about it. When we, because of cloudiness and distraction, do something as ridiculous as dumping coal into a wok of oil, what happens next? It's very likely to trigger the third trap. 3. The third trap: sinking, ruin. This concept has two layers of meaning. One is physical, and the other relates to bad image in the eyes of others. The two types are: the first is easy to understand, the literal meaning, like falling into a swamp or quicksand, constantly sinking and unable to get out. The second is actually more common and requires more attention, the sinking of reputation. That is, because of some reckless behavior, our image and credibility in the minds of others gradually sink. How does this reputational ruin come about? It comes from recklessness. What is recklessness? It's not knowing the situation, not knowing your current status, what you should say, or what you should do. As a result, you do what you shouldn't, and you fail to do what you should. Every reckless act is like taking another wrong step in the swamp, which only causes you to sink deeper and deeper until, finally, your image in the eyes of others is completely ruined. 4. The fourth trap: dropping what was started, abandonment. I believe this is an experience absolutely everyone can relate to. Starting many things, and then there is no follow-up. Before discussing this trap, let me share a cool piece of trivia. The concept of raising or starting an action has an astonishing 43 different meanings in ancient texts. It includes meanings like initiating, starting, taking action, posing a question, and even finally succeeding. This also means there are so many things in our life that can be raised or started by us. So, the name of this trap is easy to understand. It means you raised or started an action, but halfway through, you let it drop. In simple terms, it's giving up halfway. You see, this can be applied to everything in life. Starting a project at work that later fizzles out. New Year's resolutions to lose weight or learn English that only last 3 minutes. Promises made to friends that are not kept. Even a personal study plan you set for yourself. Anything that is started but not seen through to the end counts as abandonment. However, there is an interesting phenomenon. We rarely experience abandonment when it comes to eating, drinking, and entertainment. In those areas, we usually achieve success upon first attempt. 5. The fifth trap, loss of mindfulness. Finally, we come to our last trap, loss of mindfulness. This concept is incredibly important. It discusses what things our minds choose to keep glued onto, like sticky notes, remembering them constantly. Here's a subtle piece of linguistic knowledge. The word for true thing, remember, is actually closely related to stick or glue. So, the essence of remembering is like something being stuck to your heart. You constantly think of something because it has a stickiness to your mind that you can't shake off. With this understanding, we can grasp what loss of mindfulness is. It is not merely simple forgetting. It refers to a more fundamental error. We forget or drop the core principles that should be constantly stuck to our hearts, such as wisdom, compassion, and discipline. Instead, we allow short-lived, unhelpful thoughts like various desires and anxieties to stick to our minds like superglue. This is loss of mindfulness. So, what is the key takeaway from everything shared today? It's simple. You cannot fix a problem you cannot see. But now, we have given names to these mental states. Indulgence, heedlessness, mental cloudiness, distraction, sinking ruin, dropping what was started, abandonment, loss of mindfulness. When we can name them, we gain the power to observe them and even change them. So, after hearing today's talk, when these feelings surface again, which one do you think you will notice first? Thank you for listening.